So we arrive in Tennessee late that evening. We wake up the next morning. He was like, "Merry Christmas, Bay," and I'm like, "Merry Christmas." Now you got to realize, I still didn't know at this point this man, prior to me marrying him, was living with his baby mom. So we get there, we see his two younger kids. He tells me before we go out, because once again, it was late, I didn't really get to meet his family. And he says, "Hey, babe, I got something to tell you." And I'm like, "Okay." And he says, "I have a son." I was like, "Yeah, I know." And I'll just call him Jay. And he was like, "No, I have another son." And I'm like, "Do what?" So my first thought process was, this is not this kid's fault. I can cuss him out literally all the way back to South Carolina from Tennessee. That's a good 10 hours. And I'm going to go out here and not make this child feel uncomfortable. There was no way on earth that he could say that this child was not his. It was like he spit him out and spit him on the couch. So I'm like, kind of inhale and be like, "Hey, how are you?" I'm 27. This kid is 14. So I couldn't even be his mom on a good day. But he was very nice. So I see the little girl that I know that is his daughter playing with another little girl. I'm thinking it's the little girl from next door. She came over to see what, let's call her Marie. What Marie had gotten for Christmas. But no. That wasn't the case. The little girl says, "Daddy, do you want to take a picture with us?" So in a matter of all of 5 minutes, we went from 2 kids to 4. I didn't do very well with the 4th child. Not in front of her face. I just greeted her and left. Now, just to give you a little context, this was a very small city in Tennessee. It was, the neighboring city was called Frog Jump. There was no stores open past 6 o'clock. You got to also realize we still had phone booths back then, right? So I called my mom, and I had never been away from my mother in all the days of my life for Christmas or any holiday. But I was married now. So call my mom. I tell her, and she was like, "Look, under no circumstances are you to make those children feel bad. You can do whatever you need to do on your way home, but do not make those children feel bad. You didn't know about them, but that is none of their concern." So that's what I did. And I have to give my mom credit, because that was the stand-up thing to do. So we got ready to leave. We had 10 hours in the car. I asked that joker, if I asked him once, I asked him 50 times, "Is there anything else you need to tell me?" No, baby, that's it." Okay. So when we got back to South Kakalaki, the ex-wife calls to thank me for being so kind to her 2 children. And I told her, because of course you don't want, anybody to know that there's trouble on the horizon. And even though the population there was probably 20 and she already knew what happened, I wasn't going to give her any more fuel. So I didn't. So she called to thank me, and I said, "Hey, when we have kids, I want, them to be really close." And so she said, "Yeah, that's why when Jay and Sybil," I don't know, I just had to make up a name. I don't want to use my babies' names. And yes, they're still my babies. When they come, to Tennessee, they always stay with us. This is the ex-wife talking. I was like, "Oh, that is so sweet." And she said, "Well, we don't get to see Adrian once again, making up a name, that often. Who the hell is, what? Who is Adrian? What? And so I know this woman is like, I'm going to drop the bomb on her. She thought she was going to come down here and, I'm going to drop the bomb on her and mess this up. I met that joker at the door. Who is Adrian? They be saying she my daughter, but she ain't my kid and yada, yada, yada. So I said, okay, I have to go by what he's telling me. It's not his kid. I promise y'all, on my mother's grave, for 18 months, this man said he was not that child's father. I decided that I was going to have babies. He wanted kids, so it wasn't like I was trapping him, but I was not leaving another marriage without somebody's sperm. I don't know how else to put that. That's just how it was. I wasn't leaving. And so I ended up with fertility. Those doggone mothers in the church done told me that's what was going to happen. So I had to go on what's called Clomid. They weren't, I don't even know if they were doing IVF back then, but I didn't have to go that far, but I did have to get on some fertility medicine. We got on that. We sat there. The doctor asked us, was we ready? We were. And I got pregnant. And I was ecstatic. Finally, what I've always wanted was here. So, for whatever reason, I think that's my grandson. For whatever reason, I went on, and so anyway, I was not leaving. I wanted to have a baby. We were pregnant now, and I'm so ecstatic, right? Well, kept having this feeling. Didn't know where it came from. Called my mom. I was like, Mommy, everywhere I go, I keep seeing twins. She's like, me too. I was like, they said it was only an 8% chance that I could have multiples. I was like, I'm probably just overreacting. So the next time I went to the doctor, I wasn't far enough along to be able to get an ultrasound. So I told him, I was like, Doc, I think I'm pregnant with twins. He was like, didn't I tell you it's only 8%? I was like, I'm just telling you, I think I'm pregnant with twins. He was like, what makes you think that? I said, I don't know. I'm seeing them everywhere and I feel it. I talked to my mom. My mom feels it. He was like, you know what I'm going to do? I am going to do an ultrasound against my better judgment. And I am going to give you this. Now, if we see twins, then I'm going to pay for it out of my pocket, the ultrasound. If it is not, then you can ask me about another ultrasound until it's time. All right. Agreed. So we did the ultrasound. We got to go to part 3.